Alright guys, Justin here with California Grenadiers. I've been asked by a few people to kind of give a walk around of the rig and maybe go over some updates on everything that's been done to it. So for those of you that don't know, this is a 2024 Ineos Grenadier. We pre-ordered this several years ago and we got it in December. So one of the first in California, Southern California, to have one. Just a little background, I come from the rock crawling world. I was a founder and president of a Jeep club that's been going for about 10 years. Coming from the Jeep platform, I had a 2013 Jeep JK Rubicon that was on 1-ton axles, a Curry 60 VXR in the front, and a shaved 14 bolt in the rear. It was 3-link suspension, front and rear, long arms, with coilovers, king coilovers, front and rear, fully armored and winch, etc., and had hydraulic steer assist on it. So I have a fair amount of experience with rock crawling, off-roading in general, but wanted to go with something that would be a little bit bigger inside and would be able to carry more stuff inside, be much more comfortable, and be able to fit the family a little bit better. So we went with the Grenadier. Love that, you know, it has that classic Defender look. Love the story behind the whole thing. I love that they kind of pushed through and persevered through all the naysayers, the lawsuits, copyrights, what have you, to bring what, in my opinion and many others' opinions, to market what the new Defender should have been. But we understand that not everybody is a hardcore off-roader, and some people are just looking for that luxury and that name. So Land Rover did a good job there, but there's definitely a gap they left, and Sir Radcliffe filled that gap, and I'm very grateful for that. So without further ado, we'll kind of talk about this thing in general. I was fortunate enough to be connected with Eibach USA very early on, and they wanted to get their hands on a Grenadier, and the dealer that I work with, Sierra, down in Irvine, California, knew that I came from the rock crawling world and that I was pretty savvy with modifications, off-roading, and could provide adequate feedback in regards to anything that the company built. So they connected me with Eibach, and I gave them my car, and they prototyped springs on this car. It's gone through 2 iterations. The first springs were the the general 2.5 front, 1.5, 1.6 in the rear. That's currently available and out on the market. Right now, it has the same front prototype springs in it, but they also added the 500-pound HD springs in the rear. So that allows me to carry some more gear and address some of the squat that the car could experience when it's heavily loaded. I know a lot of guys are using these for overlanding, so that's important for them. For me, I knew I wasn't going to carry too much gear, but I did appreciate the fact that I could carry a little bit extra gear with me at all times, and the car won't squat. It didn't squat very much with the standard springs, but once it was loaded up pretty heavily, it did squat down about 1 inch, which isn't a huge deal, but for some people that might be a deal breaker. So they came out with these springs. They're on here now. They're saying that they're going to come out with a 1,000-pound option. that's a bit much for me because I don't have a cabinet or, you know, kitchen. I'm not going to be carrying that much weight. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to sacrifice the ride quality for something like that. I'd rather be lighter and more nimble. And I tend to base camp. I don't really tend to want to pick up and go all the time. So I want my rig to be light and maneuverable when I go out off-roading away from camp. So putting those springs on allowed me to fit these 35-inch by 12.5-inch Toyo open country RT trails, which I'm actually very, very impressed with. And we can take a look at the spare here to kind of give an idea of what that looks like. So the tread on there is pretty aggressive. It's like a hybrid tire. So it's somewhere between a mud tire and all-terrain tire. The tire is surprisingly quiet. Has good compliance, pretty strong sidewall, 10 ply. These are load range E. Good tread on the sidewall there for when you're airing down. And you know, they're really quiet on the road, but perform surprisingly well off the road. I started originally with 275/70, then went to 285/75, and then finally took the leap of faith and went with the 35 by 12.5 after much debate about rubbing and things like that. Tires do not rub. They're currently inflated at 32 in the front, 42 in the rear. When I didn't have the roof rack on, I was at 36. The ride is very plush with these tires. It will not handle like a sports car. This is not a sports car, guys. It's a solid axle vehicle. So those of you complaining about the steering, complaining about the ride quality, this is what off-roaders have to deal with if they want the strength, durability, and reliability of a solid front axle. So those are the tires, and then the rims here. These are Reika wheels. I think they're a relatively new manufacturer, but I really like the design, the style, the you know, all the holes in it make it lightweight, but also kind of has like a retro mod kind of look to it. They're really strong, aluminum forged. You know, they're I think they're really nice looking. They're flow formed, so they're not like forged. It's kind of a newer process, but those of you that are familiar with the race car world or wheel world, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it kind of it's better than cast, a little stronger, but also lighter weight, but not as expensive or intense process as one-piece forged. So they're a great option, affordable option. They are 17 by 8 with a 35 offset. So it allows us to have a little bit of poke, ever so slight, from the side. I'd say maybe about an inch coming out from the fender. So a little bit more aggressive. I would love it if they were a 0 offset. For some more poke and stability, but that may not be cost effective for a lot of these wheel companies, because that might not be what a lot of the market they're targeting wants. But I have been working with them, and I think we'll have some exciting news in regards to a new wheel soon. So as soon as I get those on, I'll talk about that as well. So those are the tires and wheels. And then down here you'll see the probably one of the first necessary modifications you need for any true off-road vehicle, especially one that's going to see the rocks, and that's rock sliders. These ones are made by White Knuckle Offroad, and these specific ones that are angled up but without the kickout are exclusively offered by Shadowmarq. Buddy Brian over at Shadowmarq hooked me up with these, got me taken care of, and I've already used them, leaned the car against them on the squeeze on Von Dusen Trail and Big Bear. I also used them this last weekend on Gold Mountain, pivoting around some rocks, coming down on them onto rocks. And anybody that knows White Knuckle's reputation, these things are incredibly stout, well built, really true rock sliders. They've got the square tube on the inside for the main rub rail, which gives it a really smooth sliding area, and then the thick tube on the outside to protect the body. And what's nice about these is that they don't extend too far, just far enough to provide adequate coverage to push off of things, and so you're not leaning into your doors, and they line up with the wheels and tires, so you kind of always know where that rock rail is when you're traversing obstacles, especially rocks or stumps, things like that. They are frame mounted, so they're super solid. They mount to all the factory mounting points, as well as the center, so incredibly strong. I'm very satisfied with these. Made right here in California, out in the high desert. Testing grounds are Big Bear and Johnson Valley, Lucerne Valley, so these things are tried and true. So very pleased with these. Some other cool things we got on here. So you'll see these diamond plates up here, but they look a little bit different from the factory ones. These extend all the way out and all the way back and all the way to the side and underneath the hood, closing all the gaps. And they're not drilled in. They're adhered with 3M, which is more than sufficient to hold these things on. I'm not a fan of drilling into the bodies of cars unless I absolutely have to, because I want things to be as reversible as possible if I need to. But these things are great. They're made by GrenadierUSA. It helps make the fender stronger so it can support more weight. You can stand on these, and it gives you grip. And also, if you're working on an engine, you can put things here, set things here. You don't have to care about scratching your paint or damaging your PPF if you have PPF. And it also enhances the look, gives it that old school Defender look, or old school, retro styling. The other item that these guys make that's really cool, that I was so glad someone made an affordable option, is the grab bars. They come from the factory silver, which I think is mind-boggling, because the only things that are silver on the car are the grab bars and the skid plates. I'm not a fan of silver on cars, especially if everything else is black, the trim. So when the guys over at GrenadierUSA built these and sent them out to me, I was thrilled. They're aluminum and they're powder coated with a texture black. And they look way, way, way better, suit the car way better. And if you guys are familiar with old Defenders, since that black is there, it kind of makes it look like those are windows from far away, just like the old ones, but that's just like a design cue. So those are great, those are awesome. What else do we have here? So over here, obviously we've got Rotopax, 4-gallon, mounted onto this CATuned Offroad molle panel, which is awesome. It's got the L-track mounts just like that are here throughout the car, down below the window and on the doors, so you can mount stuff like that. It has these slots here. There's slots inside too, you can't see them because of the mount, but There's also molle style mounts. They're not like, you know, the traditional molle size, but they are molle style, so you can attach lots of accessories in different ways. So it's really nice. I was able to attach Rotopax. They mount up here on the gutter. I know other manufacturers, they have something that extends up to here or extends across all the way the gutter and attaches here, you know, and that's nice and sturdy, but it also has a lot of bolts, and more bolts means more stuff that can fall apart. So that gutter is more than adequate to hold the weight of the gas tank. I've actually, if you can see here, I've got damage here from this past weekend, scratches here from the squeeze, but I leaned this up against a tree and pivoted around the tree with this simply because of the size and length of the car, and there was no damage to the mount, there was no damage to the gutter, the panel didn't bend or anything or flex, so it's pretty sturdy. It's made out of aluminum, so it doesn't add very much weight, doesn't make any noise or anything, so it's really a great addition if you want to add accessories to the side that you want to keep out of the car, or if you want to, you know, maybe mount dirtier things. So great accessory there. We've got this Agency 6 shovel mounted to the Trailrax rack, which is pretty awesome. I mean, it's cute and all, it's small. People probably make fun of me for it, but it's actually a really useful camp shovel. It's nice because I can keep it out of the way. Don't have to stick it in a box or anything, or get the inside of the car dirty, hear it rattling around. And for all you mall crawlers out there, it looks kind of cool too. So that's fun. Major thing on this car is the Trailrax roof rack. I absolutely love this thing. I was fortunate enough to meet the guys over at Trailrax, to go out to Overland Expo West with them and help represent them and prototype this rack on the car for that show, and to run it around and test it out and see how it holds up. And you know, I'm blown away by this thing, guys. It's like beautiful, number one. Number two, extremely functional. I believe the estimated static capacity is 1,000 pounds and dynamic is 500. And you can see here that it has just this front mount here on both sides. It doesn't touch. It's just clamped here with cushions and guards to the gutter. And then back here, there's this mount underneath that has a thick cushion that kind of rests on the body of the car, the roof of the car, but it's also mounted down here to the grab bars, the factory mounts. And it's all like distributed amongst this frame style rack. And this rack's super light. Total, I think it's like 70, 100 pounds, really light. And it's super, super stout. Looks cool. I got these different accessories. I got these grab bars here that they sent me, so it's easier to pull up on, because the car, you know, the roof is pretty high. I'm 6'2". I'm standing on the ground, and I'm grabbing on there, so useful for me. Definitely useful for someone that's of a little shorter stature. We've got a Rotopax mounted up there. I've got the Maxtrax mounted up there, with the Trailrax mount for those. So I can fit two more there, just need to get some. Haven't needed it with this car though, so we'll see. And then got the Pelican boxes, the Vault 800s I believe they are, mounted up there, solid mounted, so I can carry camping gear, recovery gear, all the stuff that I kind of want to keep out of the car to keep things clean. So that's what's there in there. What else do we have here? Let's see. bar right there in the back, so when you open this, open the car, it's got the dual split doors, got the handlebar right there. I can just pull myself up there while stepping down. Another super cool thing, one of my favorite things, is this Diabolical ink mid shelf. Super simple design, solid, stout, helps optimize the space inside of the trunk or the boot. It's got these tall walls so things don't really slide around too much. Got all these points that you can mount to or strap to. Also comes with dividers. I'm not using the dividers currently because I was putting some bigger gear up there, but I do have the option to do that if I want to. They also make a drawer slide that goes down here. You can order it with just the slide if that's all you need, but it also has a drawer option that's lockable, and with the drawer option it actually ends up being flush with the back seats if you lay those down, for those of you that like to sleep in the car. So that's a nice feature. Makes it a nice flat surface to lay in. This is really cool too. My buddy John over at Agile Offroad gave this to me. Sorry John, this is supposed to be my son's bag, my son's gear bag, but I used it to fill with different things. This is like my air hose, tire gauge and stuff, but I've got some wrenches in there, some bigger wrenches and stuff. I can fill it with my power tools when we go on a trip, so that's nice. Thanks John. This is a must-have, the GPfactor cubby table, trail table. This thing's absolutely awesome. It's made out of food grade stainless steel. It's got that slide out bamboo cutting board that's fully removable. So if you want to bring food from the campfire, or you're prepping right here, you want to transfer it over, that slides out, or just extends your work surface. It's kind of nice. And then cool feature about this one is that it's got this cubby, so you can store things in here. I've got a quick deflate gauge that I have quick access to, and then I have this jump starter from anti-gravity batteries, the XP10. This thing's super useful, super compact. I mean, I can start any car with this, and look at how small it is. It fits right there in that cubby in the back door, so it's quickly accessible. One-hand operation to close this thing, so that's awesome. No shakes, no rattles, nothing like that. Thing's amazing. What else do we have here? Oh, so from the factory, the car comes with the spare flip the other way, and you can purchase a storage option to keep like gloves, or I don't know what you would keep back there. I don't think it's useful, but maybe it's useful for folks some capacity. I don't know. But stylistically, it wasn't the greatest. It had like a plastic cover that you would have to take off to access the spare. It didn't fit correctly with the new offset wheels, and trying to fit a larger wheel on the back door, we were running into problems opening the back door. So again, Agile Offroad, John to the rescue, comes up with the bracket. Can't see it here, sorry guys, because it's behind there, but this thing's bitchin'. If you go on their website, you'll see the pictures of it. It's like a billet aluminum bracket that extends and flips the tire outwards and to the right, so that the door can be opened adequately with a 35-inch tire at least. I imagine a 37 may potentially fit in the future. But this thing's awesome, super stout, piece of art. Can't see it, sorry guys. If you look on their website, Agile Offroad, you'll see the pictures of it. But as you can see, this is what the purpose of it is to flip it around so that you can see it stylistically, the wheel, instead of seeing the back of a wheel. So that's pretty awesome. That's one of my favorite things on this car. What else? So we have another side molle panel over here with more Rotopax. And then up here we've got the Archetype Racing, the Overland Vehicle Systems pull-out awning. It's kind of nice. I chose this right now because I just need something that I can pull straight out that's small and maneuverable on the trail, because some of the trails I do are kind of tight, not a lot of space to pull off on and set up, full bat wing. So this gives us a sufficient shade, and it's easy to kind of maneuver downwards or upwards in tight spaces. So it's kind of nice, whereas a bat wing or 270 awning adds a little bit more weight, a little bit more bulk and size, and it has to be opened all the way and expanded all the way out, so we may not have space for that. So that's why I went with that. May go with a bigger one in the future depending on our goals, but right now this is what we're working with. A lot of people ask about the L-track. I opted not to pay the exorbitant amount for the factory L-track because I knew L-track existed, so I just secured some from a company on Amazon. It's a van company. If I remember it, I'll post it in the comments or bring it up. But I was able to just drill out some holes and match them up to the factory holes and put those on. And they had these pre-made 2-slot ones, so those fit perfectly. So that was easy. I think I paid a total of $200 maybe versus like $800 or something like that. So I was happy about that. Up here I've also got the Trailrax dual tool mount. So we got a little axe and a shovel up there. It's kind of nice because it keeps it up and out of the way and safe, and it's lockable, and I don't have to hear it rattling around in a box or stick it inside the car, so that's nice. We tinted the car. This has got Expel ceramic tint on it. The windshield has 70%, I believe. Front is 50, and the rear is 20, I believe. But it's ceramic tint, so it cuts out a lot of the heat and the glare, the sun's UV rays and things like that. So that's super nice. I think that's kind of everything that's on here. We're still working on the prototype Eibach spring shocks. Sorry, they did send me some, or set me up with some piggyback shocks, but those are being redesigned for the mounting points and potentially lengthened a little bit to accommodate the lift. So inside, some other neat things. I just bought some vinyl wrap, some textured vinyl wrap. I think it's Vivid Indestructible or something like that. And I cut that out and put it here on these bumper cutouts to provide some grip when stepping up here and then stepping up here. I did that on the side steps, as you can see as well. That kind of helps with some grip. Getting into the car, my wife kind of complained about that sometimes, understandably. Inside here, floor mats. I ceramic coated some of the surfaces in here to make it easier to clean. I got a tool bag under there. Oh, we've got this cool thing. As you guys know, there isn't much storage space in the car, So custom molle panels came up with this little molle panel that you can screw into the gap between the high load switch panel, and then you're able to attach different molle panels. I got some 511 tactical stuff up there to hold like documents and pens and maps and, you know, a knife and a flashlight, my sunglasses, because, you know, there's no sunglass holder in here. And I use this other little pouch to kind of put my phone in, because there's nowhere to put the phone either. And I don't like a lot of clutter on the dash, so that was a good solution. The inside, we didn't really need to do much. It's pretty adequate the way that it is. What else? Early on we did cut out that giant factory resonator, and we put in a single small resonator, single exit resonator. My buddy Lee, one of my best friends, helped me out, chopped that giant thing out, put this on, tucked it way up, so I'm actually considering removing that rear skid plate to gain some more departure angle. Unfortunately, that skid plate kind of protects the sway bar links. It's kind of a wonky design, different from what I'm used to. So for now I have it there. Let's see if I want to kind of brave that, take that off, and, you know, I don't know how much protection that skid plate is actually offering to the sway bar links, but we'll see. But the exhaust sounds great. It gives us lots of decel burbles, which is kind of neat. I also added a K&N drop-in air filter to open things up a little bit, so now you can really hear the turbo with a combination of both those things. Kind of cool. It's not like, you know, the turbo sound of like turboed cars. It sounds more of kind of like a big rig turbo. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I've ceramic coated the entire car to make it easier to clean dirt off from the trail. It just washes right off. Can't really think of anything else we've done yet other than those things. We are working on getting some skid plates on the car underneath. I am currently working on getting a front drive shaft built, and hopefully that will become available soon. I think the lead time is about 1 to 2 more weeks out. They're currently building the adapters for that so that we can fit a double cardan shaft in. So that'll be nice. That'll address the weak point of the CV shaft, especially when we lift the car. It puts that CV shaft at an extreme angle, and that can be a potential for a hard down on the trail. So I've already talked to several people that have had drive shaft failures. That's probably associated with incorrect caster settings once the car is lifted, because the CV shaft cannot handle those angles. That would be my guess with the boot failure. So hopefully we'll have a solution for you guys soon, both front and rear. The rear isn't as much of a problem, but still does remain a weak point under torque and low grip situations, so that'll be replaced as well. But other than that, that's kind of the car in a nutshell, the way it sits now. Our other hopes are, you know, to work on a rear bumper, front bumper. I know there's some companies coming out with them. We may be working with the Cruiser Company and Long Range America for their rear bumper, or rear bar as they call it in Australia. CATuned has a front bumper that has an exposed winch mount, which is nice. GPfactor is working on an enclosed front winch carrier that's going to be exclusive with come-up winches, which is kind of neat. And I believe LFD has built an exposed winch carrier center replacement piece that can work with pretty much any 10 to 12K winch that you choose. So there are some options coming out. I think AFN is working on something as well. But a lot of these things may be cost prohibitive due to the limited nature of their production, as well as them being overseas. The cost of materials, labor, shipping, all of that adds up if it's coming from overseas. So we're patiently waiting for the American market to catch up and start developing some cool products. Other potential things we would like to see happen are, upper and lower adjustable control arms with high misalignment joints, so that we can optimize travel on this thing. Definitely needs adjustable track bars, because with the lift there's no current ability to properly recenter the axles. It's not a huge deal at this height, but I can foresee people going to 3.5 inch once links become available, and of course potentially coilovers. That's why we're kind of preparing for that with the drive shaft. Extended brake lines, you can have those made by brake shops and things like that, but people are slowly starting to come out with kits for those. I believe Shadowmarq is working on something like that to extend those, or at least relocate them to allow for more droop without breaking your lines. What else are we looking forward to on this car? I know King is coming out with some shocks for this soon. Fox as well. John at Agile has been working on some things. With Fox, he's already got a couple of stabilizer options. I think he's working on some bump stops, which will be really, really cool. So there's lots of neat things coming out for this car. We're just waiting for the aftermarket to catch up and for the demand to be there. So yeah, that's the car. If you guys have any questions, comments, please feel free to reach out. Write to me in the comments section below. Please follow my Instagram, Bodhi Grenadier. The YouTube channel. Try to give periodic updates. Show some footage of some trail runs, talk about some modifications, recommendations, things like that. So, thank you so much guys for watching. Hope it was informative. Hope I got you guys some good views of the car. And planted some seeds for you guys to kind of build your own rig, make it your own, and go explore. Beat this thing up. That's what they built it for. So again, thanks for watching guys.